This call is now being recorded.
Hey, Sunray.
Hey, something else. How are you? What you been on the Twitter streets talking about and dealing with?
Okay, so let's start with maybe yesterday because shout out to Carolyn Hines because she was expressing all the angst, dare I say anger? I'm still exploring it, but she expressed the unhappiness. Let's go with that. The unhappiness that I know I was feeling when I heard two pieces of news. One, Netflix is doing an Americanized version of Crash Landing on You.
Mm-hmm.
Two, the CW of all networks is doing an Americanized version of W Two Worlds. I don't know if you saw that, but they're
Mm-hmm.
going to rename it Angel City, and there are some changes so far that they're making to it. Um, and I have issues with both of them um, for slightly different reasons. But I had to kind of dig a little bit to figure out why I felt some kind of way because I was feeling a little bit petty, a little bit snobbish, and then a little bit concerned. So I know you've heard about it. What did you think about the news?
To be honest, not interested, not happy with this, and think they need to try something else. This is not what they need to do. But we'll dig into why I feel that way. But just overall, I'm not feeling it.
Right. I mean, because I've been talking up doing some kind of Boys Over Flowers Americanized version forever. But this feels different to me. I think because in my head, and I think I expressed this on Twitter also, I, with the exception of Boys Over Flowers, and even with Boys Over Flowers, what I was expecting was America to adhere to the Korean and Japanese format of storytelling, as in 16, well, Japanese, they can be 10 or 12, right? But like a limited series, one time season, expressing a story. I just wanted us to compete with all the other versions of Boys Over Flowers. And to be very, very clear, it's not like this is the first time that countries have copied each other's shows because The Good Doctor, I think, was originally Korean.
Mm-hmm.
I have it somewhere in my notes. If I try
Yes, that
to,
was produced by Daniel Day Kim, and it was a
right,
Korean show that was remade for
right,
American audiences.
exactly. And it's like, it got, I think I just didn't want to express angst without kind of figuring out where it was coming from. And I was like, okay, who's the boss? Either came from America, and went to the UK or the other way around. Even Sanford and Son. Sanford and Son was not unique to America. It came from the UK originally. I forget what it was called, but it was called something else. So we're used to that kind of copying. But then I think what um, I started to parcel out a bit was that I was a little bit disappointed because we talk about all this globalization, and there are plenty of places where globalization is not helping the American economy necessarily, is not as wonderful as it's reported to be or purported to be, if I'm using the right term. There are plenty of places where America is not as competitive as we should be. So maybe we need to like stop being as lazy or resting on our laurels or resting on past success. But when it came to something like this, ignoring Boys Over Flowers, right? I was just like, you mean we can't just read subtitles? I mean, like, we can't be on subs if we, or at least be on dubs. Okay, like, dang, we can't, we gotta go and completely spend what we know now to be millions to remake something in an Americanized image. And let's keep it real, a white image because
And
it's
I think
not.
one of the problems, like even just as you're speaking, I'm jumping in and I apologize, so don't lose your thought. But it's
No,
like
no,
I'm
do it.
thinking about as I was reading articles, one of them spoke about HBO is in the process of remaking Parasite for television. And I'm
What?
going, Parasite won an Academy Award, which meant it was Americans watched. Americans watched enough that it won one of our awards. So now if that's the case, please tell me, why are you remaking it for television? Like, what the hell are we doing? What's the point of
Okay.
that?
And see that here's my thing. On one hand, Parasite was so freaking good
It was
that
as
it's like I
is
want
though,
to
as
it
is.
right. Right, is, not was, is, because it's not even like 2 years old, right?
Uh-huh.
And I would be excited about it, but one of the points I was gonna make, and I guess I'll make it this way: American casting is for trash. Let's keep it a buck. Like it is the way we worry about Korean drama endings is the way I worry about both American television endings. Rest in peace, Game of Thrones. That was complete trash at the final season and the final episode. But also, American casting is awful sometimes, and they will mess up a show that they don't even need to mess up. And what was my example? Um, 50 Shades of Grey. Okay, so I know this, you're gonna be like, shit, 50 Shades of Grey is your example. It is because it was a standard soft porn book. It was not, I mean, it was new for the soccer moms who were reading it, but it wasn't really that new. It was trite. It was like basic, right?
Mm-hmm.
All you had to do was get Henry Cavill, get yourself a halfway decent woman, which they did. They found Melanie Griffith's daughter. It got to be a breakout role for her, but they had no chemistry whatsoever. And dude, I forget whose name who played Christian Grey. He walked in wanting to walk out. He didn't really want the job. So I'm
Oh
like,
wow.
how y'all spend right? How y'all spend millions on a movie, a trilogy that is dependent on good casting, right? So that they have chemistry. And can you show something for real? Because they just Disneyfied the hell out of it. Like American television sometimes will ruin a good show with like poor casting. And speaking of poor casting, CW, trash. It's like 50-50 that could be good because Batgirl, how many Batgirls have they had because of poor casting? They got that Ruby Rose chick who could not hang. I don't know what the official story was, but she could not hang. She could not act. She was not prepared. CW 1 second will be brilliant. Next moment, be looking broke down and like B-level film type TV show. Like, where are you coming from? That girl from beginning to end was trash. And now you have the nerve, you have the audacity to want to take on one of come on, come on. I'm
And
like,
to be
how you gonna take
honest,
on something like that?
just
Mm-mm.
keeping it 100, the majority of the CW shows are skewed for young folks. It's a younger audience. And so with that, I am going, so you're gonna take this show that was designed for, let's just say your early 20s to mid 30s range is who their target audience is. Of course, it reaches way more than that. But let's just say that was your target audience. You're going to skew it down, redo it, and rename it. And Lord, I can't begin
Right.
to imagine because, as you stated, the CW, they could start off golden. Like, I can't remember what that show was, but it was a show about, like Professor X and his crew type of like mutants. It was a mutant show. It started off
Okay.
good, but then I don't know what the hell happened and it just died.
Because sometimes you're so enamored with the initial concept that they don't know how to like flesh it out.
Is that what's
Correct.
going on with them?
Right, right, right. Because CW, okay, let's talk about the CW. Let me just take you back in time because I can't with the CW. See, because it's like they will dream up a big dream And I'll get all invested. I'll be like, oh, okay, they're about to do like a prequel of Superman or whatever. And then all of a sudden, and I'm not saying that show was bad, but it was like go left in a hurry with CW. So here's my beef with CW, and here's my beef pulling it all the way back with some with this old school way that they're moving when they should be moving a more culturally aware and more global way. They're going to Americanize these shows for the CW. The way you're talking about skewing young, they're not just skewing young, they're skewing young white America. Okay, they're not just skewing like I'm going to bring race into it. I'm taking it all the way.
Let's go there because I think it needs to be just keep it real and keep it 100. You know me. You ain't keeping it real,
right? So here's what it is with the CW. Once upon a time, boys and girls, there was UPN and there was WB, and they had Black shows like Girlfriends and The Game. And what had happened was that they took the cream of the crop and they pushed it onto CW and pretended that they were going to keep those shows, but they gentrified the hell out of the network. So they used those shows to get those numbers up, and then they dumped those Black shows and replaced them with shows that young white kids would enjoy.
Yeah.
Right. So basically, they did a bring it on, if you will. They stole, they took that audience, they took the money that came from those Black audiences, then they didn't keep those Black shows. So that's the CW, right? And that's fine. Like, I mean, it's not fine, but it's like, that's business, that's right. America, that's how things happen. I'm sure it happens all over the world, somehow, some way. They are not unique. Fine, because Fox did it too, right? We just have a long history of this stuff going down. But then I'm looking at this and I'm like, okay, so you're not only taking the show that you could just dub, like just at its bare, basic, lazy level, you can just dub that show and then move it on. But no, they're going to change the name to Angel City. Then they want to change it. Of course, they're going to have, white folks in the roles. I can bet.
I mean, the reason I'm going to tell you that I kind of agree though is like in our pre-Squid Game life and me first realizing, oh crap, Netflix is dubbing shows. I turned on a show and I guess they assumed because I was an American, oh, let's go ahead and give her the dub version. I'm like, the hell is this? So I started watching the drama, but I was pissed the whole time because I'm going, who the hell are these people? That's not what he sounds like. That's not what she sounds like. What is this? And they weren't, let me just say this, if they were Asian men and women doing these roles, I was shocked. I would be shocked, is all I'm going to tell you. I would be shocked because it just didn't sound authentic, is all I'm going to say. It didn't sound authentic. And that bothered me. So it took me fumbling and playing with settings for the longest. I think I got to like episode 4 before I finally figured out how to get it back to subtitles because I was ticked off listening to the dub. So I personally am not a fan of dubbing. However, it's been happening and it's been going on. So why can't you all just invest in great dubbing and dub the shows and let people watch as they are? Give them the background because see, that's what Netflix fails at. Netflix subtitles fail, fracking fail, fucking fail. I just got to put it out there, dropping F-bombs, because they don't give you context to what's going on. Vicky,
not like Vicky.
All of their horrible, take their time with they subbing, the way they do it, we could complain for days about Vicky. We love them still, though. That ugly, it's like that cousin that disturbs and bothers you with their ugly behavior, but you still deal with them because it's your cousin and you love them. We love Vicky, even though they be doing some mess, but they give you context behind what's happening because they realize all things are not universal and the whole world doesn't quite understand. I guess the concept of, me saying to you, oh no, I don't want to buy you a pair of shoes. Why wouldn't you want a pair of shoes? If he's buying you shoes, you should take the shoe. Well, there's reasoning behind that. And you have to learn that as you watch and you learn about culture. That is what all of this remaking is going to do. It wipes all of that away. So you still have no reason to invest yourself in learning about anybody else or anything else because it's all going to be now back centered and facing and looking at you. Because I'm
Right.
sorry, but we're going to skew on over real fast to this Koi remake. Koi? Yes. Crash Landing on You. Yes. My problem with that is, where in the fuck is North and South Korea going to be? What are we
Girl,
using for that?
I got you. I got
Okay,
you.
come on.
I got
Come
you.
on. Cause
Because I was like, what y'all gonna do? Put him in a militia cult? Like, how you gonna make this work with
girl, I'm telling
Americans?
you, somebody has already said it's gonna be a Mexican woman and a white man. Because they're
I
gonna
got
use
you.
Mexico and Texas.
I
Go
got you.
ahead, sorry.
I think they're gonna use Cuba, girl. They're gonna
Oh
use Cuba.
Jesus. Okay. What?
But see, here's the thing though. Are they ready for, is the American audience ready for an interracial romance between a white woman and a communist Cuban soldier? Are they ready for that? I'm ready for it. Because if he looked like him then, I'll go for it. Like, I don't care. I like a Hispanic man, okay? I don't give a damn, okay? But is an American audience ready for a communist Cuban soldier who is conservative? Because dude was not like some liberal wonder. He was
No, he
going
wasn't.
against type. Are they ready for that? We That's why at first I was like, what's she gonna do? Like float over a militia compound and get caught up? Like I was like, where could she go? Where could she go? And mind you, she can't float forever. So she has to already be in Key West. Girl, I went and looked it up. It's 90 miles from Key West to
Yeah,
Cuba.
yeah.
Because I was like, how they gonna make this work? And that's even a stretch. But I was
But
like,
still,
they
it
gonna
makes
do it?
better sense then, because again, you have to do some digging for this. This can't just be. It can't just be some crazy. Oh, she was in the Rocky Mountains and he was in a cult in the hills. Like
Right,
it can't be something like that.
right, right, right. They're not thinking about these things. Why didn't they call us? You could have told them. I could have been like, this is what you need to do.
They really could have. We have been telling them we
Right.
will help them for years now.
And that brings me to another point. It reminded me of the fact that we are the invisible audience.
We
And we're
are.
invisible on both sides. Damn, we're invisible. I mean, but see, on one side, I knew we would be invisible to the Korean media or, you know, Korean television producers and film producers. I knew this because they're not looking, I mean, and it's not even like a race thing at all, but just like
Right.
the
We are not their
the
target.
we're not their target. So fine and dandy, I don't mind that. But we're also invisible to the American audience because when they make these things, they're not making it for us. They're it's not some general American audience. No, come on now. Like I'm half Nigerian. I know how other countries look at us. I mean, whether you watch television or pay attention culturally to other, you know, to how other countries move, when they think about American, they think about white people.
Right.
So that's what they're making it for. That's
But
why
this
they're gonna change all this stuff up when they don't actually have to.
and the sad part, because one of the things I was sharing with something else, we had kind of riffed about this on Friday, I think. But one of the things I was sharing with her was it really kind of disturbs me because even in the sense of this, like you mentioning us being uh, invisible, uh, unnoticeable on both sides, is also the whole Korean drama watching community. There's a community
Right,
of us, and we have been helping
right,
push the numbers. We have been helping make sure shows get American and international watching, whatever, whatever. And not just saying, like us as a Black Girl So, but I'm saying all of the people who are Korean drama watchers who've been doing this for some time, even if it was just from when COVID started. Even still, we are the people who've been doing this all along. So Squid Game comes around, which is great. I'm glad it got noticed. I'm glad they got the press. I'm glad for all of that. But then behind it, now here comes the repercussions of you're going to miss the people who already enjoyed these things and who already were
exactly.
participating in these things as you go and do your, I just have to, like you said, call it what it is, your whitewashing of the situations now, because you're going to want to remake it for who you think is going to be interested in watching it because, oh, it was such a great show over there, we're going to do it here too. it was a great show as is. And if people would just learn to
Right.
step out of their boundaries and see things aside from themselves, because I think in America is real great at that. We make things very comfortable here, and we don't show, like, even news, world news. We don't see everything that's going on in the world. We see what they want us to
Mm,
see. We see
preach.
what you want to show us. So we're aware of that, because as the internet widened up and opened up and people started talking to people from other places, seeing things from other places, we have now all, who those who choose to be knowledgeable, have now all become knowledgeable enough to realize there's a whole lot going on in the world that we may not all be able to see and be exposed to. But then I feel like it's unfair for the media to continue to, the entertainment media, to continue to press this and push this one agenda without being mindful of how wide the world is and what's going on around it.
Right. Right. It's like it's promise of diversity, and then they turn around and they go, oh no, 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 no. Because they can't, we see the brilliance, but we can't. We're gonna have to blend the hell up with this stuff so that American audiences can taste it. American audience can't handle East Asian flavors. Oh no, oh no, oh no. It's like, what the hell? Do you know how good some of that food is? Can you? So here's my thing. I think that's the crux of it for me, just like a disappointment because of how globalization is presenting itself. It's like instead of it being the opportunity to embrace other cultures, they've like commodified it in such a way as to bastardize shows that are pretty much, I mean, at least in the case of Crash Landing on, just 2 years old. Like, it ain't old at all.
Right.
It's not like it's 10 years old and someone was like, hey, that would be a good idea. No, no, that didn't happen at all. Also, some of it for me, and I'm going to speak for you, we are not gatekeepers
Mm-mm.
to this thing. Everyone is welcome. However you got to do it. Like we said, if you can't do it on subs, do it on dubs. Like whatever you need to do. We are not arbiters for this, right? Just because we've been in the game and we've been watching this for years does not mean that we know it all, have the best point of view, understand every aspect. That's why we go listening and we fan out and geek out over other podcasters and other people who talk about this thing, because we're learning too. But I feel a little bit like if we got jumped in by watching stuff,
Said they got to get jumped in too.
then someone need to get jumped in America too. Instead of getting those hits and those drive-bys, all I'm asking for is that you do those subs, and that maybe you know, deep dive across a couple of platforms to get new episodes the way that we had to do. Where it was like you watch 2 episodes on mysuitU.com, then you watch the other 3 on you know,
Man.
on Drama Cool, then you watch the final 5 on Vicky because they finally caught up. And here's the real. People don't even need to do that. All I'm saying is, you mean to tell me y'all just can't prime time, and I mean prime time level on CW. So you all can't just play W2 Worlds
Exactly.
on dubs? Like, cause he cute and she cute
Hmm.
and it's quality.
It is thank you. That would be the other thing. If the shows were substandard to what we are used to seeing, if they were substandard, I could understand you going, okay, well, we're going to remake it because, this is the level of what we put out, and blah, blah, blah. No, 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 no. These are high quality shows. These are not shows
Right,
that make you go, huh? What's that? Why they doing that? Why she got that on? No, they're not these shows.
right. So that's why I'm like, don't make no sense.
It doesn't.
It don't make no sense. Like, how she gonna float? Where she gonna float to, girl? Like, I don't know. So that's one question. Then Angel City, aka W2 Worlds, the Americanized version. So then they're also, instead of having a male, they're gonna have a female lead and a female lead. It's gonna be a lesbian relationship.
Oh,
So I'm like, okay, America, do something different.
okay.
If
Okay.
that's what you want to do it. That's why I don't have a problem with it. And I have a solution. So this is my great idea, because I don't trust America to make these right, even the Americanized version. Let Korea make the American versions of these shows and put them on Netflix and CW and
Because
just have American consultants. Because I
here's
need for it to be done right.
here's what I am gonna say that kind of makes me kind of go, don't know 100% about Crash Landing on You, Chloe. The reason I'm going, I gotta kind of see, is because CJENM, which is the company that produced it in Korea, well, Studio Dragon is a producer, but CJENM is like a portion of this, and they have a channel in South Korea. They are working with Netflix to produce this. So that makes me go, I wonder
Okay.
exactly like how is this going? Like, I kind of want to see it just to have a full opinion. You get what I'm saying?
Right. See, I have more faith in Netflix than I do in CW.
I
So
do too.
if
Sorry.
Netflix, right. So if Netflix can make it right, it's not Netflix USA just basically getting the rights to it and then like coming up with some trash and just like putting some white folks in it. Because there's a pro and a con. They need to really be 50-50 on this deal because as we well know, if the Koreans do the casting, they're gonna have some Germans who speak bad English, right?
Yes.
So they need American consultants, but the Americans need to like pay attention to things like context
Again,
because
yes.
they really need to figure out where the hell she's floating from.
I mean, seriously.
They really need to, and they need to have that real dynamic because she was risking her life being across, you know,
to be
geographical
with
line.
this man, right?
Right. Like how everything went down. So, yeah, my best bet is Cuba. My best bet.
So
I don't have nothing else.
Yeah.
I don't have nothing else.
Because I'm gonna say I agree with you on totality that I am more interested, I think, in what Netflix and CJNM can come together and put together than I am in what the CW doing its US adaptation, where they've already changed the name. Already, I believe they're looking at, kind of skewing it down like,
Right. Everything can't be bring it on. Everything can't be, we just gonna take it and have like young white cheerleaders doing the same steps. It can't be like that. Like, and it's no disrespect. There's so many shows. There are so many quote unquote white shows that I deeply enjoy. Like I watch all the time still. I'll go watch a rerun in a heartbeat. But I'm like, if you're gonna do it right. Just like for real. With Boys Over Flowers, in my head, in my dream of dreams, they're gonna use my show treatment and my script, of course, and it was going to be diverse, and Shonda Rhimes was going to produce it. I just because I feel that Shonda is a type. There's some folks who are like this, who will go and look at the new type of formatting. They're willing to do innovative things and think differently and move in new fashions. Shonda went from doing, Scandal and all her other shows to doing 8 or 10 episodes for Netflix.
Right.
Like she's willing to switch it up. So I'm like, a chick like her, yeah, she could do 16 episodes and make it work and match that formatting and learn how, the East Asians do it. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I'm like, okay, Boys Over Flowers, I can see her making that happen. I can see Ava DuVernay doing it too, but she's got a lot on her plate and respect the hustle. But, this isn't as heavy as she's used to. It's Boys Over Flowers. It's like a reverse harem Cinderella type thing. It's cute. So I'm actually surprised. Like I in a weird kind of way, I'm happy too that they didn't do Boys Over Flowers because I'd be peeved. I'd be super peeved. And I wouldn't even care if she were white, like the lead were white, but I think it would just, I feel like if you're gonna do an Americanized version of anything, you gotta bring the Americanness, and that is diversity. I mean, theoretically speaking, it is. Um,
Yeah, that would be nice, but
right, right, right. But no, I think that was what it was. It was my angst was coming from a place of disappointment that they weren't trying to make American audiences push the envelope. I did have a little bit of OG in me, kind of going, "What, you all too good to like to read? You too good to like listen to sub? I mean to dubs." Um,
so now on
and
the
then I just
flip,
I just didn't trust.
I
I just
feel
didn't
you.
trust.
On the flip side, I'm just going to be a quick devil's advocate because
Okay.
if we also take a look over in Korea, they're getting ready to do a Korean remake of Jane the Virgin, which is an American show.
But that's different to me.
Why? Ha. Explain
because
why.
because okay, because I feel that we took Jane the Virgin from Mexico anyway. I think it came from Mexico. There's some, like, that's why I said Boys Over Flowers. There are 15 different versions of Boys Over Flowers. I feel like if it's a remake of a remake of a remake, like everybody's remaking it, then go on and throw yours in. Go on and do it. But if it's, especially since I could see, given the social mores in some ways, that them making it work. I could see it. But let's say they were trying to redo, I don't know. It's that's what I'm saying. I don't have a problem with remaking. I just don't trust that America is going to completely do right by some of the dramas that we know and love. But go on. I'm sorry I
No,
interrupted
you're fine because this is kind of where I wanted to go and what I wanted to kind of see your thoughts and how you felt about remakes. Because you're correct, Jane the Virgin came from Venezuela. It's a Venezuelan
you. Oh,
show.
okay. My bad.
No, that's fine. It's a Venezuelan show, and was I watched it the whole series, all the different seasons, but I watched it and it was good. The American one, not the Venezuelan one. The American one, because by the time the Venezuelan one had come out or had ended, excuse me, the American one was out and a coworker introduced me to it. So I went on and I watched it. I loved it. It was really good. So just kind of interested in seeing, like what was your take on that? And so hearing you say remakes of remakes don't bother you, but
Right.
I
Especially
guess it's
remakes that
subjective.
happen. It's completely subjective. And also, I think some of it is the fact that like Crash Landing on You just is only 2 years
It
old.
really is. Because Jane
But
the Virgin, the original, the one in Venezuela, ended in 2002. And I think the other, let
it's
me,
like 5 years out or something. Like it ended, what, 4 or 5 years ago?
yeah, but I'm trying to see when did they pick it up. 2014. So they gave
Okay.
plenty of time. They gave over 2 years.
Right. And like
That
for
was on
example,
CW too while we're talking, but go ahead.
right. And then right. And also like Ugly Betty. I think Ugly
Yes.
Betty came from Mexico. And that was remade. Not only was it remade by us in America, but I think there was another version of it that maybe it was Italian or something. I think I watched that too. And the reason I don't know is because I was watching subtitles, chick, when I watched this thing. I don't remember what it was. Some other country that came after and did their own
It
version
was
of
a
Ugly Betty.
telenovela, and well, it's not telling me where it came from. Hold on. Go ahead, keep talking. I apologize.
But yeah, they did another one. I want to say I was reading subtitles. I want to say. I'm not completely sure, but it was not American. It wasn't like a second Ugly Betty. So,
Colombian.
but yeah,
It was a Colombian
okay,
telenovela.
okay. So that's what I'm saying. I don't have a problem with remakes. I have a problem with them. Okay, so thank you. It's helping me to narrow it down.
No, no
I
problem.
have I have a problem trusting that um okay, so this is what it is. Crash Landing on You is because it's so new and so young. but I kind of am willing to give Netflix a shot because it's Netflix and they're going to be working in conjunction, right? The other problem is I don't trust CW.
Okay.
I don't trust CW. And I feel that CW skews things so much that they'll be so busy trying to cater that they won't pay attention to or respect story. Um, it's a great story. I understand why they wanted to take W2 Worlds and do it, but I almost want them to start like real simple, like anything else, super simple, and then build up to it. Because like we were just talking about, CW is hit or miss. Like
Right.
1 second they're great, and then next thing you know, it's like, ugh, background, this looks, even the set looks janky. What is going on? The acting, the set, you all have three different Batgirls in the space of like 3 or 4 years. What y'all doing? So I don't know. That's all I got to say. That's all I got to say. How about you?
No, I'm still over here doing a little research. So Ugly Betty was remade in or made by a Bosnian television station, so in Croatia. That was the one that came after the American version. Arabic
Mhm.
version has come. Um,
Right.
and then Georgia, the country.
And see, some of that is the story too. That is your classic ugly duckling Cinderella type story. Some of it translates with no problem. I think that's the difference too. Like these two, both Crash Landing on You and W2 Worlds are a little bit finicky. I say that because of the floating situation for Crash Landing on You, and because W2 Worlds, I was going to say that. Why am I blanking? Oh, because even when with the Korean version, it was like it was almost hit or miss with the Korean version, as far as I was concerned. I mean, I love the actors, I like the storyline,
We're
but even
talking
towards the
Chloe
end,
or W2 Worlds.
W2 World,
Yeah, see, I never
like
watched
even
it. Wasn't interested. I saw
oh, okay,
enough that I was
even
like,
towards the
eh.
end, right? Even towards the end of W2 Worlds, quality was there, actors were there, everything was there, but the story started to like skid it to a halt. So I don't know. And okay, and another thing is this. Netflix may not have this problem, but CW certainly will. They don't know how to just do 16 episodes, drop a mic, and walk away from a drama.
Right.
They're gonna want to do multiple seasons.
Yeah.
How? How y'all gonna do that? How are you
Well,
gonna do that? With the Hollywood imagination, I have no faith. Mm,
so
I put
CW
my hand up.
has crossed their hands over into quite a lot because they're doing a spinoff of Jane the Virgin.
Okay,
And
fine,
I'm
good for
trying to
them.
figure out why.
Right, because they're going into sequel land, they're going into remake land because the Hollywood imagination is not enough. What is it? When black girls consider suicide when the rainbow ain't enough.
Right.
When Hollywood considers sequels because their imaginations are not enough.
Girl.
That's how this is going down. That's why I'm like worried because I'm like, and also I was Game of Thrones, like I was about to get a tattoo. I was Game of Thrones. I was rhyming for Game of Thrones. Okay, I was never going to get a tattoo. That is crazy. But I wrote for Game of Thrones. And the two showrunners, final season, messed up that season because um what's his name? R. Martin or whatever, J.R. Martin, I forget. See, I'm not 100%, but I'm like 90, okay? 90 Game of Thrones fan, 90%. He didn't write the final season. Maybe they went to him for notes, but he hadn't written the book yet for the final season as the source material. So that final season was from their brains, and that's dangerous.
Okay.
I don't trust that. If they start fiddling with storylines and trying to remake it to do something Americanized, they are liable to mess it up.
Yeah.
So so I don't trust y'all.
I hear you. I
I
hear you
will
because I'm
watch it.
gonna say just looking, I'm going, it is a lot of, if you dig in. Now, mind you, you have to keep in mind something else is our resident television person. Like, she is all about
Why
story.
is she saying that?
Oh, I'm just telling you because I don't look into this stuff. Like, you will dig and look and find, and I don't do that. So, like, I'm over here
I
in
can't claim
shock.
that.
You can,
I
and
can't
you
claim that.
does. Stop it, y'all. She does.
I'm okay,
So,
y'all, but I'm sure
prime
some of y'all are
example.
better.
I'm sure, but I mean, again, it for the two of us, you are the resident. Just how you keep giving me music, it's only for the two of us. Like, I'm sure there are other people out there who are on. Like, I follow somebody on Insta and on Twitter who gives me musical recommendations on a regular basis because I like, me and her have the same style. It seems, in Sequacia. Yay! I love listening to the stuff she shares. So yes. But that's all I'm saying is for us as the resident film and industry expert that is you. So, like, I'm sitting over here just in awe because I didn't even realize how many countries had already done versions of Jane the Virgin. And this year upcoming, we got Spain and South Korea both putting out a remake.
That's what I'm saying.
So
if the show
it
is
happens.
already being remade, then go for it. Like, throw your hat in the ring. Like, I'm not tripping off of those. I'm tripping if you are going to remake. If some of it is purely about the story. If you're going to, and some of it's purely about the story, and some of it is, I don't trust some of these networks.
Right.
If you're going to remake, like, if someone's going to come out with Cinderella, I'm not fighting you on that. Have fun. Like, do it 550
we've seen
times.
It, right. Like, we've seen it every which way. So yes, okay.
Right. I don't care. You might as well
even in the animal version.
Right. Do it. But if you are going to do Crash Landing on You,
I give, because again, like I said, the only reason I'm even interested in it might be a 1-2, or just because I want to see how they take this, where they're going with it. But as far as me committing to watching the whole series, I'm gonna tell you right now, that's not in my spirit. But at least to watch 1-2 to just kind of see how did they start this, what did they do, who they cast, that kind of thing. Yeah, I might watch first 2.
Right.
But wanting to see the whole story again, and not like, unless it is something that really intrigues me in the first 2 episodes.
Right. I mean, I'm definitely going to watch because I'm nosy at the very least. Like, that's just how I ride. I'm going to be like, huh, who's going to play the Ben? Who's going to play him?
Right.
And then, and then see where she's floating from, how that works.
Right.
Y'all know that's like my obsession. I'm like,
no, seriously, there's a lot of people who are obsessed with where is she crashing from.
Right. And so, and there's so much to like about the show. I wouldn't say that it was like my top show ever.
No.
I would say that I enjoyed it.
I did. I enjoyed it very much.
Right. And so I don't know. I mean, anyway, I'm retreading now. So
yeah, and I just feel like, at the end of the day, overall, it is a matter of taste. It is a matter of like,
right.
Do you enjoy it? Don't you? But it's also why, just for you guys, because I don't think you all, well, you do see, but it usually is with something else. Like, we have an idea and we come up with it and run with it. Before our call today, I called our link, remakes are as American Pie. Why? Because really, truly, they are. That is what America does. It is kind of how we've come to be as a country. We have taken parts of other people's languages, parts of other people's not histories, but like their Jesus, I want to say judicial, but that's not it either. Their governments, parts of how their governments work. So like, America is a melting pot and a mixture of a whole lot of different things. And so this is the same concept, but I'm just going to tell you right now, I am being snobbish. I don't like it, and I prefer that they not.
Right. I'm in our conversation, I'm just changing how I think.
Yeah.
Coming down a little bit.
Yeah.
Y'all know I'm emphatic, but I'm like, I'm not in my feelings around initially. Now I'm just like, you know what, F it. Do whatever the hell y'all want to do. I don't want none of this stuff. But yeah, I agree with you. I think that it's just that, and like I said, to retread it again, it's a little bit of disappointment because I want us to like kind of embrace what was created by the other culture,
I
the
agree.
other
All the
country.
nuances and the ideas, the
Right,
storylines.
right,
Like I agree. I feel like one of that, and that we've said this already, you guys, and so I apologize. But truly, that's one of the misfaults of America in this present state we're in is that we do not open our eyes to everything going on. And
right,
doing something like this is a way to completely, without lack of better word choices here, whitewash the whole situation. So, you know,
right.
it is what it
So
is.
anyway, maybe we are reflecting some of what you were thinking, or maybe we're not, and you're like, you've got it completely wrong. This is a way for Americans to better accept, you know, something. You know, this is an entry level drug to, I don't know. I don't know. I mean, I look forward to hearing from other podcasters about this issue in particular. We're on Twitter, we're on social media. If you agree, please.
We're on
We always
Facebook,
like
we're
it
on
when you agree with us.
Instagram, we are on
Right.
YouTube. You can find us anywhere if you come to our website, www.blackgirlsoul.com. You can
Exactly.
chat with us there. I talk to people on there as well. So please speak, share, talk. Tell us what you think.
Right. Like I was saying, if you agree with us, we love that. We love to be agreed with. But if you don't, that might be even better because convince me, like, teach me, because maybe this is the greatest thing since sliced bread, and this is what we're supposed to be going towards. I do not know.
And one of the things I definitely want to share, just because it was a conversation that came up, we had done a conversation about Kim Soon Hong, about his issues, what was going on at the time, because we were speaking on it as it was happening. Like we didn't have the full story. So we shared some things, shared some thoughts, shared some ideas. And so someone immediately got on and was like, I disagree with everything you said. And I was like, wow. Okay, well, you know, so it is what it is.
Good.
Right.
Good.
It is what it is. But that's what I'm getting at is it's okay to disagree. Part of us growing, part of us learning, and part of, and not me and something else, but just in life, is you're going to disagree with people and it's okay, but learn how to have discourse in our disagreement and not try to debate, because I'm not trying to win a point or trying to prove you wrong or prove me right. But let's discuss. We can talk. We can have discourse. It works. And
right, I'm not trying to win the argument. It's not an argument. Like civil discourse, highlighting the civil in that discourse. Because I'm like, I can argue with you 1 second and then agree with you the next, and you cool beans to me. Like I'm not going to take it personally.
Right. And with that, I just
if I do, I'll block you. If you're rude to me, I'll block you. Though.
I wanted to detract a statement because I said the man was a bad boyfriend because of certain things that were put out. I rebuke all of what I said about that portion of him and that situation. I stand by. We had no business with any of that information. All of that came about because somebody was being messy and they wanted to share stuff because they were trying to sway the opinion towards their side, and it got all of what it got. I'm grateful that he is back acting again. I am grateful that he has gotten endorsements again, and I hope he continues to thrive. I also just have to give him a salute and shout out for being stand up. Instead of him trying to debate or argue, as we just talked about, he just said, I'm sorry, and kept it moving. And look at how all of this all flowed out and came out. So, to Kim Soon Hong.
Okay, so I'm a fan too, but not super fan or anything. I stand by everything I said because that's what I knew at the moment.
True.
Right. I'm not, if he were everything that we thought he was, or whomever Kay was at that moment, yeah, I stand by what I said. Now we got new information. We were talking like you said, at that moment with the information we had, and even when we spoke about it, we were very clear that was information we had at the moment. We said allegedly like it was going out of style.
We did.
Right. So I'm like, yeah, if he truly had been a fuckboy, then I rebuke fuckboys. Hello. We came to find out as more information came out, and what was that TMZ type dispatch or
Yes,
something.
dispatch. Korean dispatch.
They started breaking it down like they had bugs in their house in their email that they were just straight. They had all the evidence, okay? And it came out that he had been stand up with her. Now, maybe he has somewhere somehow gone, woo, I'm shook. I don't know. But from what I read after the fact, they had plenty of correspondence too, where he was careful with her, kind to her, where she had been lying and doing all kinds of dirty deeds with him, seeing other dudes, I think, allegedly, because I can't remember for sure.
Yeah.
Had been engaged in some stuff. And so it was messy. And he held his head up. He went through the process. I think there's some, cleanup, some judicious cleanup, because even if he didn't make that mess, he and his team had to be involved in cleaning it up. And luckily it did not ruin his career, because that's what we were talking about. We were like, whoa, we don't want someone's career to be ruined when we don't even know what's going on.
Right.
So good for Sung Rae for coming back and doing her retraction. I retract nothing. See, I told y'all, she's kinder than I am. But big ups to the person who disagreed with us, because you were doing what you should be doing. So, is there anything else, Sung Rae, before we end this phone call?
Udawan is back. Okay. I'm sorry.
I know. Let's talk about that. Come on, Udawan.
He's
So when
already got a
exactly
job
is he
coming
done?
up. On Netflix, hunting. Well, I think it's called Dogs.
Bloodhound?
No, that's what I'm saying. Like when you're not careful with the Koreans, they have a few different titles. So one might be the literal title, one might be what we're gonna actually call this show, but I think it's gonna be called Dogs, if I'm not mistaken. But it's being hunting dogs is what is showing up when you do the research. But any which way, they are saying the show is about these three guys who are, now there was an actual webtoon, and then the webtoon, it is two guys and a girl, but they're going to use three guys and the three guys. So somebody made me laugh because they were like, why is it always men in all the Korean dramas?
Right.
Like they overcast men. But in which case, they're basically poor and trying to figure out how to get their lives in. I think they become loan sharks to try to make up for this. So we'll see as it keeps coming out in details and information, but it's going to be on Netflix. So I'm just excited for him and happy he's not having to return to the actual military base. He is still officially enlisted until January 5th, but he is going to stay in his home or stay wherever he is until January 5th, where he's officially discharged.
Okay. See, listen, she keeps up with him. Okay? I bet she has like a phone where it shows where he's walking to when he goes to get some ice cream in a minute.
I'm not that doggone crazy, no. Let's not have the Netflix coming for me.
But if there was an app, would you get it?
Maybe.
What you say?
Maybe. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So
like I'm ever going to be able to go there, but yeah, sure. I could look on the screen and go, oh, he's at Dairy Queen, or oh, he's at the coffee shop. Like, yeah.
Oh my God. Oh, we have to add this to the list of reasons why you are the ultimate fan club. Anyway, but I got nothing else. If you got nothing else, we're gonna end this phone call. You got anything else?
That is all.
Okay, well, this is Black Girl Soul. I am something else, and
Sung Rae.
You guys have a good one.
Bye.